Forbidden. Forbidden.
Thank you guys. Welcome to Q&A. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here. And let's start. Questions? Please come forward. Anybody? Anyone?
Okay, what you been doing since you left the last Star Trek episode, Into the Darkness?
I've done some television work in London, and I don't think you've seen anything over it, television stuff that I did. And there's going to be a short feature that I did called Ballad of Sandy. I think I'm going to make it a full-length feature. That's in the future. Hopefully you can start filming on about in January of next year. And I know I'm going to be doing the first Star Trek movie next year. And hopefully I'll do the new Star Wars movies footage in London next year. Nothing has been signed up, but I'm hoping to happen.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
You've done a ton of roles in movies and TV over the years. What type of roles do you like more than others?
What kind of roles do I like? Like a red roll, brown roll. For me, I mean, it's up to the writers the writer. Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That was an amazing experience where I played 165 individual Oompa-Loompas. I'm not a professional dancer, but I learned. I'm not a great singer, but I had to learn that. So that was a great experience for me. Working with Tim Burton is always amazing. He brings the best out of every actor. In my opinion, it's something to of the best out of me too. Apart from that, I've done.
That was your seat. I saw a jacket there.
To us and how good a job they do with the physics. And we won't cut to the summary instantly. We're going to cover these topics, and as I do every so often, you get, as I say, on a DVD or Blu-ray, a bonus feature. Next slide, please. Well. Oh, also, I upped the ante and made it a little harder. In order to acquire something, I'd like to either see it as a background slide or a graphic, or some part of dialogue. Well, that didn't work 100% of the time. So toward the end, I had to take some liberties. Let's talk about gravity, the weakest force, but the most important one if we're spending in space all the time. From what it looks like from the viewpoint of at least the 60s, and unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what sort of fan you are, I grabbed a lot of things from the original series as they were easier to go find and easier to go snatch on.
Unique opportunity of mixing my teaching of history with my passion for Star Trek. And about 5 years ago, I created an upper division history course called Star Trek Culture and History, which really basically uses Star Trek as a vehicle for students to explore U.S. history since World War II. And so today I'm going to give you a little bit of that by focusing particularly on Deep Space Nine. Usually
yes? Okay, start with your questions really quick, and while people are coming up to ask questions, I will tell you what I've been doing. In April, I left the shores of the United States in my sailboat, and I sailed 3,000 miles to the islands of the Marquesas, and then another 700 miles to the archipelago of the Tuamotus, and then about 300 miles to the Society Islands, which include Tahiti, Moorea, Raiatea, Unini, I've never pronounced that right, and Bora Bora.
Phillips.
Thank you, everybody. My God, there's a lot of people. I left more people than this in bed. Jeez, I've seen younger faces on cash.
The man where logic trumps emotion as his character, but not in real life, the incredibly talented Mr. Timothy Rush. Tim!
Good to see you all. Good to see you all.
The man whose mellifluous voice you just heard, who's equally comfortable working as a naked cowboy in leather boots for Joe Dante as he is rocking it as the holographic doctor. It's the one, the only Robert Picardo!
I tried the volumizing shampoo in my hotel room and I really think it worked. My head definitely looks bigger. Thank you.
Yeah, but Bob, you have volume where it counts.
Oh, hey, this is a family.
Nobody talks dirty to me.
Okay, and last but certainly
I
not
just want to
least,
text this to my family. That way they'll know that I'm not that unimportant.
you have to bring out the poster boy, the guy that all the girls love, and who I suspect had an affair with Kate Mulgrew, but won't admit to it. The one, the only, Garrett Wong. Let's welcome. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Vegas stage. Let's see, what is this anniversary year since production began?
You know, put that away and go in there. Michael Bennett, I worked with on Dreamgirls in Los Angeles when he was there casting for Jennifer Holliday's debut there, and he said that the one thing he looks for in an audition is not, he didn't say talent first, he said confidence. You have to have confidence. When you get on that stage, you get in front of these people to read, you have to, this is your role, this is your part, I got this, and nobody else can take it, and that's the attitude.
So there's a lot of you here today. I'm very excited to be here at my first convention. I was just saying that I was last in Vegas for a CES convention, which is 250,000 people. I believe this is 15. So this is slightly more manageable. So yes, I guess we're here to talk about Star Trek, Into Darkness specifically, my involvement. We haven't finished the press tour for Star Trek yet. We go to Japan on Sunday, apparently because it's so far away and so small, they have their own release schedule. So they haven't seen it yet. So we're taking it to Tokyo and we have the premiere there on Tuesday. This year has been about taking the film around the world. We went to Australia, Russia, Germany, the UK, all the territories that have people like yourselves, fans of the Trek universe. I don't know what there isn't to be a fan of myself, but apparently it's divisive. And yes.
This weekend to tell you what they've been doing to make up for the fact that I have really nothing to tell you. You know, the older I get, it's curious, but the more I appreciate and understand the significance of having been involved in Star Trek. For a long time, it was, I couldn't see the forest for the trees. I thought of it as an acting job, which it was. Sometimes better, sometimes less, in terms of what it demanded of me. But
I'm ready. Oh, you videoing? Not only that, look, we got him and his name.
Yikes!
Wow. Nice house. It's a nice house.
shall we sit? Would you like to sit?
Sure. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna look at you guys for a while. What?
Oh, you two men!
Well, we could all be in silence for a moment. You know, sometimes that's interesting.
I gotta say, I'm a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, me too. Have you done many conventions?
This is not my first, but it's been a minute since I've been in a room with...
A dying Frank Sinatra. And it's a very cool role for him, and there's another one, we have an incredible cast.
Brent Spiner is playing Frank Sinatra.
Yep.
A dying
Frank Sinatra. And Annika Marks, who was in the sessions with Helen Hunt, and she also just did the lead with Sharon Lawrence in another movie. She's a company member. She's in it as well. She's terrific. Ian Alda and Tracy Lay. And it's a really interesting, wonderful play. I hope you come and see it. Frank Sinatra has an encounter with different people. One of whom is Monica Lewinsky. Yeah.
And what's it called?
It's called The Last Look Back.
The Last Look Back.
And so anyway, that's one of the
things that is when?
Going on. That's going to be October 4th. And if you come around the table where we are, I have little postcards for it. And it would be wonderful if you supported our theater.
Who would love to support Gates's theater? Well, that's everybody.
Well, thank you. It's hard in the world of nonprofits to, nonprofit theater is pretty tough. That's why all of the stuff that I put up for auction in my trunk sale. I'll buy it for $3.50. Okay, here we go.
So I had 3. Where are you, sir, with 3? There you are. 3. Do I have 3.5? 3.5. 4. 4 right here in the front. Do I have 4.50? 4.50 where? 4.50. 5. Anybody? $500. $500. $500. 5 down here in the front. Help me out, Gates. You got a spot.
Okay. How about $575?
$500 in the front. $575. $575, sir. Do I have 6? 650. 650.
It's okay. Wait. Hands. 650.
650. Do I have 650?
Gotta be more than that, folks. Come on. think it's...
We have 1,050 going once.
Once. Okay, all right, who's there?
Say what?
1075.
1075.
Stand up, please.
1075.
All right.
1075. $1,100. We got $1,100 for Gates' communicator. She's doing an interpretive dance about how she feels in this very moment. We have $1,100 once, $1,100 twice, $1,150, $1,150. That's my $800 woman, isn't it? Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. $1,150. $1,150. $1,200. Right? You got a tap dancing, y'all. $1,200. $1,250. Ladies and gentlemen, this has become a really exciting pissing contest. This is Gates has the ability to take your plastic as well as...
And I have the ability to take everyone's wallet too.
Are you serious? $1,400? Ladies and gentlemen, $1,400. $1,400 once, $1,600. Gates is about to start stripping. Come on, baby. Come on, mama. Yeah, you know what you gotta do, girl. You got 2,000 once, $2,000 twice, $2,000, $2,100. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. $2,100 sold. Sold. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah.
Here, Gates. There's an exchange that needs to go on. For $2,100, I'm gonna bring her to you. Look good, Johnny. Yeah, you're looking really, really swell.
He does. He looks really good.
Yeah,
I think that's good.
We got a word in edgewise with the Marina.
So the people know who you are.
So I'll be the guy sitting in the Marina. Just so you remember, I played Riker on the show, and I was involved with her on the show. She answers all the questions for me. She's not really speaking for me. She's just speaking.
Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, Elvis is officially in the house. It is Brent Spiner.
Oh my God, there's so many people.
And last last but certainly not least, it's #1 singing Volare, it's Jonathan Frakes. Come on, give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen.
We match.
If you put white and black
And
together.
grey. You make
get
grey. We discussed this at great length before we dressed this
Very
morning.
good look for us today.
Sit down.
Johnny, #1. To me.
To me.
Where are you? Right here, sir. Where are you? Anyone? I hear you. I see 3 Johnnies. I see 4 lights!
Okay. Miss United States. Yes, dear. Question.
Well, I first want to say thank you all for the incredible contributions you've made to society, culture, and television. You've really touched our lives.
Who's she talking about?
Us. All us. All us. All us.
All of you.
Marina, right?
No, all y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Marina, you have been inspiration to women.
David was my favorite character.
David was my favorite character, too.
David was my favorite character. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You had a very interesting way of sitting.
Of sitting?
The whole stepping over the back of the chair technique.
Sure.
That's me.
Yeah, what's up
Even
with
though
that?
she liked David.
She liked your...
She liked the way I
I like
sat
that.
down.
Sitting technique.
So, how did you come up with that? What was up with that? Basically?
This is huge on Twitter, by the way.
I know.
Sitting
I
thing.
wonder if I can do it this
Sorry,
year.
it's too
It's a little challenging, isn't it?
Be careful, man, you're older.
How would A-Rod do it?
Drum roll.
You even need steroids to do that.
Yeah, you need to be on steroids if you're going to do BA right. Yes!
Let's see if I can do it again.
One of these. You go over you. Oh.
So, the first time you did that,
Terpsichorean, isn't it?
It is very Terpsichorean.
Let's see if you can. Yeah, plant your foot up here. Yes! You got a good partner with your team.
I'm very...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we bring out the amazing man of the hour, you all know him, he's a Renaissance man. Equally adept at directing, producing, acting, and riding a horse. He's an amazing equestrian. The last Saturday of every April is the Hollywood Charity Horse Show at the Los Angeles Equestrian Center. Please try and go to that event. Go to horseshow.org to get more information on the amazing charitable work that Bill does on behalf of the Hollywood Charity Horse Show. But now he's here to tell you his latest projects, and that includes a new wonderful project for television on the Five Captains. We have the world premiere of the clip from that, which we will present to you now, and then we'll bring on Big Bill. Roll him, Captain.
Because, you know, people ask me about you. You're notorious on many levels, you know. People, what's your name? What's your name like? You've excited or stimulated this conversation all over the place. And I have to say, whatever else you may be, and you're probably mad as a hatter, when they take your brain apart, they're going to find out that you were singularly nuts. You are a genuine guy. And what's more to the point is that you're an original. You're a true original.
My luck's been pretty good over the last several years. In fact, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it was 110. I've never been busier, and that's good, because idle is not in my vocabulary. I've done a Captain's Close-Up is debuting in the next few days, distributed by E1, and we just happen to have some advanced copies at a table somewhere in the building, the table is being manned by Dave Zapone and Kevin Lane, who helped me make these documentaries. I'm having so much fun examining who and what and why and where Star Trek is, the latest is Captain's Close-Up, and we're editing one on the Next Generation, which we're calling Wacky Doodle, because what happened between the beginning of the Next Generation and the third year, the first 2 years was Wacky Doodle, and we delineate what happens, and it's great fun, so that'll be around in the near future. So that Captain's Close-Up is really exciting for me in that.
Just spent 2 hours together.
Oh, that's true. And I was all over you, that's true. You got a new show on the air.
I do.
And you are wonderful.
Orange is the new black. Captain Janeway is rolling over in her grave, but there's room for it. I'm very happy because it's, first of all, beautifully written, created, and run by Genji Cohen, who did Weeds, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it. And she's written a character who...
Dying, and then Mr. Brink, who is this character about death, took me to death, and then the last scene, and I heard the audience weeping and laughing and everything, and I was 9, and then I was reborn. And I thought to myself, I think I want to do this.
Doesn't thrill me at all, so tell me, why should it be true that I get a kick out of you? Some they may go for cocaine. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, it would bore me terrifically too. But I get a kick out of you. I get a kick every time I see you standing there before me. I get a kick, though it's clear to see you obviously don't adore. I could come up here and visit and get drunk. So would you please welcome Casey Biggs, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Thanks for waiting. I just want to thank Jimmy Darren for opening for me. He's such a great guy, you know. He goes on all my tours. No.
Chase Matheson, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. Let me do a few tricks, some old and then some new tricks. I'm very
All by myself.
you and the blue lady in row 2. I know for certain it's you that I love. I'm through with the flirting, it's just you that I'm dreaming of. Baby, misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for, believe me. I don't stay out late, I don't care to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Baby, misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Dippy, stupid, Bob Picardo. Hit it, boys. Do I seem to effervesce? My little baby said maybe, and maybe means yes. She's a dream to gaze upon. She's lovely, she's gorgeous, and from now on, oceans of kisses and oceans of love, and I'm on the crest of a wave. Those red lips that lure me, and blue eyes above, and I'm on the crest of a wave. Once it was low tide, I couldn't win. Now it's high tide, and here I come rolling in with oceans of kisses and oceans of love, and I'm on the crest of a wave.
Did he inform you of what 7 of 9 would be doing, along with Picard and Riker and whatnot?
No, I never got any specifics. That was impressive. Who'd you hear that from? From Rick? Because that was very accurate. That was good. No, he never went into specifics about what it was, because this was right after Voyager had ended, and I had just... One of my fears when I was initially signing on for Star Trek is what happens after Star Trek, because it's kind of notorious for pigeonholing actors, and then sometimes they have a hard time breaking out of that and going on to other stuff. So I was very excited and very lucky to get on David Kelly's show right away when Voyager ended. So that had just, I don't even know if I started shooting. I guess I had, because I think that this phone call with Rick was on the way down to Manhattan Beach where we shot. So I had just started on this new show, and it was, pretty limited on what it would let you get out to do in other projects. And I would have had to have requested,
Off that, and I was wondering if you felt that that was the right thing for Star Trek at that time to have a.
Well, I didn't really analyze it to that extent. It was fun. I loved doing the action stuff. That was a really good time.
What do you think of the Rock?
He was great. I think this was his first job, or maybe he had done something tiny before that. And I had never heard of him because I didn't watch wrestling, so I didn't know who he was at the time. And so the Borg are, at least, even though they said she's a hybrid, it's not the Borg Queen, and it's not a drone, it's something new. But so at least I have an idea of what the Borg are. But so I was coming in clean. I will, as an addendum to that though, so I was never ever a sci-fi person. I was into science, but not really science fiction or anything like that. Until my daughter, who's now 5, and so my son is introducing my daughter to all of the stuff that he's loved growing up. So Star Wars and a little bit of Next Gen, he was showing her, and all this kind of stuff, but through her eyes.
And we, of course, will always adore his character, Sulu. Join me in a warm welcome for Mr. George Takei. Here's George.
Thank you very much. Early in the morning in Las Vegas. I'm surprised you're all here and not at the slot machines. Anybody do well last night or during the course of the convention? Congratulations. Now you got to spend it by coming to New York in the springtime to see Allegiance. You know, looking at a crowd like this, I'm still amazed. Star Trek is 47 years old now, 3 years away from our 50th anniversary, and yet, you know, all of you from throughout the world, literally, and I just met people from Australia, from Germany, from England, and even from, what? Oh, we love you too. There are even people from Los Angeles here. It is a perform at their peak at the Olympics. And the ideals of the Olympics are the same as that of Starfleet or Gene Roddenberry's vision. Diversity coming together and performing at their best, competing in a sportsmanlike way. And this Olympic that's coming up in next year, the Winter Olympics, has been granted to Russia. When they made the application to the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, they said they will abide by the Olympic Charter of friendship, non-discrimination, and sportsmanship. And yet, a few months ago,
Also seen in an interview for the next movie, you want to go like more for an original story. What did you feel about this, about including Khan in Into Darkness? And what would you like to see for the Star Trek 3?
That's a good question. First of all, let me just say for the record, I couldn't be more proud of Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. For me personally, not only the experience of making both those films, but for me, Into Darkness, I enjoyed it so much because I really felt like all of us as a collective of actors really had a handle on our characters. We knew, you know, what we were there to do and the interactions, and I think that translated wonderfully to screen. I think Benedict Cumberbatch did an extraordinary job.
I loved your character. I loved how you did it. My favorite character by you actually there was Reaper in Dune, and I liked you in Red. And I was wondering, do you just like go out of your way to find badass characters? Is that like something you personally try for?
Well, firstly, thank you very much, and I do appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess, you know, I have played characters who, you know, obviously quite action-oriented and quite physical, but for me, it's the wonderful thing that's why I enjoy doing Star Trek so much. Because here's a character whose heroism isn't defined necessarily.
My question is for Mr. Beltran. And Mr. Beltran, my apologies, my question is not about religion or politics, but is about that other thing. And but nonetheless...
All right, it's okay, this time.
Also my apologies because it's you know, kind of a retread question, because I heard about you explaining this story at another convention. It was regarding the movie Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, you being in line to be cast as a Klingon, and then you meeting Leonard Nimoy at his house, and then you not knowing what a Klingon was, and that was like your undoing, and etc., etc. I was hoping you could rehash that story, if that's okay.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, you haven't heard this story, but...
I haven't, tell me.
Before we did Voyager, I went to an audition for Star Trek 3, the movie, right?
This is the moment you've all been waiting for. We are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Deep Space Nine! Yes, indeed. And in no particular order, please welcome Nicole DeBoer. Come on, let's have a nice round of applause for each of our celebrities. Renee Aubergenois. James Darren. so excited.
Wow. This is enough to make you take yourself seriously.
Well, 20 years has worn well on you guys. I have to say, don't they look beautiful? Wow. Well, Mr. Brooks, sir.
Sir.
Any reflections on 20 years later? It's quite a milestone.
We live to tell the story.
You're our anchor, you're our captain. I mean, your achievement on the show is tremendous. I don't think you can underestimate that. I think we would be remiss if we didn't take, well, this is your show, baby, so come on, say something first.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, look, I just want to say, you know, we all did, most of us did 7 years, or for those who didn't do 7 years, it felt like 7 years, and that's a big chunk of change in anyone's life, certainly in anyone's creative life. It was a spectacular, creative time for me, and I could never have done it, you know, or lived through it, or kept my interest